More and more people are deciding to remodel their houses, with separate kitchens and dining rooms being combined into larger kitchen diner spaces amongst the most popular changes. Here we're going to look at the process for removing a supporting wall to create a larger room. This is a difficult technical process, so if you're in any doubt, we advise getting in touch with a professional contractor. If you're removing a supporting wall, you're going to need to undergo an array of structural checks and tests before any demolition or remodelling can take place. This will involve surveying the wall to ascertain its composition, checking whether there are any cables or pipes within the wall, and if it's a supporting wall, ensuring the correct structural reinforcements are used. Here, our supporting wall is made of a mixture of concrete blocks and bricks. It has electrical cables and gas pipes behind the plasterwork, and will require a large steel joist or RSJ to support the ceiling and rooms above once the wall has been removed. Here, it's next to the wall we're going to demolish, as otherwise the acro supports will block it from being inserted once they're erected. The cables and pipes in the wall have been decommissioned and detached, meaning they're no longer live and in use. A structural engineer has made their recommendations for the size and strength of RSJ, which is ready to be installed once the structure has been safely removed. To remove the wall, you'll need a lump hammer, a bolster, a kango, a broom, a shovel, a wheelbarrow and rubble buckets, a spirit level, a tape measure, steel toe cap boots, safety glasses, safety gloves, a dust mask, dust sheets, gaffer tape and plastic sheeting, a ladder or step up, acro supports, lengths of strong timber, a handsaw, a crowbar, an electric drill. This is undoubtedly a two-person job. First, make sure your rooms are protected from dust. Spread dust sheets or boards over your floor and tape up internal doors with plastic sheeting to ensure no dust escapes into the rest of the house. Brick dust is invasive and you'll need to minimise its spread. To access the top of the wall, you'll need to remove some of the existing ceiling plasterboard. Cut into this with your hammer and bolster and remove around 18 inches of board right up to where the ceiling joins the wall that's being removed. This will expose rafters, cables and pipes. Ensure all proud nails and screws are removed or hammered flush into these rafters. You'll need to do this both sides of the wall. Once the rafters are exposed, you'll be able to insert your acro support bars. Lift a length of timber that's roughly the same size as the room up into position against the rafters and secure temporarily with a couple of wood screws at each end. Then raise your acro supports into position, one at each end, and depending on how wide your room is, one or two in the centre. These should be exactly vertical and as tight as possible, taking the full weight of the ceiling off the supporting wall. You'll need acros on both sides of the wall. Position screws through the end of the acro and into the timber as an extra precaution. You may find that the acros lift the ceiling slightly, causing coving to split. Now the ceiling is fully supported, you can remove any door frames and architraves if you have one. Use a handsaw to cut into the frame, and then you can crowbar the frame away from the door. We're now going to start at the top of the wall structure, slowly removing everything from above head height, as this is the danger area. Bricks and blocks may fall onto your flooring, so ensure it's covered to prevent any damage, and also make sure you're wearing your steel toe caps. Using your hammer and bolster, hack away the plaster from the top of the doorway to expose the lintel. It's likely to be moulded concrete and will be extremely heavy and strong. Here, we're also working around some pipework that runs over the doorway, so we're using a smaller bolster to carefully chip away the wall from the pipes. Using your kango or a hammer and bolster, chip away all the brickwork and cement surrounding the lintel until it's disconnected from the rest of the wall. Once it's disconnected, it can be lifted clear and disposed of. You'll probably need at least 2 people to lift and carry it away. We can now start to remove the brickwork from the top of the wall, cleaning as we go to avoid large piles of rubble. Using your Kango or hammer and bolster, you can start to demolish and remove bricks and mortar. Working along each course of brickwork, strip the bricks or concrete blocks away one by one, stripping the plaster as you go. The pipework and cables in the wall can be worked around until they're in a position to be removed from the wall. The blocks can be removed all the way down to the floor level. All the brickwork in the side walls has been removed to allow access for the RSJ and the pad stones upon which it sits. Here, our side wall is single layered, so we've had to create a hole in order to locate the RSJ. However, the opposite side, the wall is of a cavity construction, so a recess only needs to be made on the inner layer of brickwork. Lie the pad stones down horizontally so that there's room to position the RSJ on top before they're then flipped into a taller vertical position. It's now time to lift the RSJ into position. You'll need many hands for this and one person giving instructions to control the movement and path of the joist. You should all know exactly how the joist is being moved. Here, we're lifting it into position, pushing it through the hole, and then bringing it back into position at the other end. Once it's sitting on the horizontal pad stones, it's then lifted again and the pad stones are flipped to raise it to its final height, with timber supports used to prop it even higher. Once your RSJ is in position, measure the distance of the joist from both ends to the wall parallel and ensure that it's perpendicular. Use your spirit level to ensure that it's sitting level. Once in position, further acro supports are placed under the joist, lifting it tight against the rafters where it can fully take the weight of the ceiling. Your rafters may be at slightly differing heights, in which case hammer wedges into position in any gaps that may exist. Once in position, you can then repair the holes in the brickwork, bricking the RSJ into position and finally replastering the ceiling.